He's hiding here.
Oh, hello, Val.
Sorry, I didn't see you. Okay.
Not too bad.
Right, good afternoon everybody. Thank you very much for coming along to what I'm sure anybody who saw the performance of this guy against Tommy Langford and some of the words which were said around about the time as well, I'm sure that everybody will agree that it's likely to be an interesting press conference, and as well as that, an interesting fight as well. I'll introduce everybody who's here. Andre Rozier from my left is the trainer of Avtandil, and then alongside him we have Ron Resso of Dibella Entertainments representing Lou, who couldn't be here today, and Saunders-Khurtsidze, who accounted for Tommy Langford in his recent fight over here in Leicester. Billy Joe Saunders, main man, who's going to be locking horns with Avtandil, and of course Frank Warren. Now Frank, you've referred to this and named this promotion as Mad Men. Over to you.
Thank you. Well, I think they're mad for it, as they'd say up in Manchester. It's going to be a good fight, there's no doubt about this. Mr. Khurtsidze, his last performance here, he came to our country, he beat Tommy Langford, and done a very good job in beating Tommy. So the fans know who he is, we know he comes to fight, we know he's aggressive, and obviously everybody over here knows Billy Joe from some of his great performances, including his win over Chris Eubanks Jr. Bill is the WBO champion. Bill is mad at the moment. He's been sitting around for nearly a year now, waiting for these big fights, with contracts that have been sent to us, that we've signed, waiting for the other side, and it's well documented about what happened with Eubanks and certainly recently with Golovkin, which was a great shame that his fight against Daniels was, you know, turned out to be such a tough fight for him. Otherwise Bill would have been in there fighting him in July. But we can't have Bill sitting on his backside. Bill needs to fight. Bill needs to be out there, he needs to be defending his title. This is an ordered defence by the WBO, and he wants to get it on and get it out of the way. I'm sure he'll tell you yourself again in a moment. And he's got to make a statement, and this will be a statement for him. You know, we know, we've seen, you know, as I say, see the last fight with Khurtsidze, and it was a very, very entertaining fight. He's an entertaining fighter, there's no doubt about that. He's a tough guy, he knows every word I'm saying here. He's a tough guy, and we know he comes to fight. He ain't going to be, you know, Bill ain't going to have to go looking for him. He's going to be there, he's going to be there in front of him. But Bill is not Tommy Langford. No. Billy Joe Saunders, in my opinion, is one of the best middleweights out there in the world, without a doubt. And he's not been tested yet. He's not had to go to the well yet. He's not had to do any of these things. He's got so much in the tank. He's a young man. He's a smart boxer. He's got a good boxing brain. He can punch, he can box, he can do it any way you want. And he's a southpaw. And I think the truth is he's probably the most avoided fighter in that division. But this man here wants to fight. He's chucking it away to himself here. He's going to say, I'm going to prove that Warren wrong, but we will see about that on the night. So we're looking forward to the 8th, and I'm looking forward, more importantly, to see Bill back in the ring and showing the British public and the world what he's good at doing and what he can do.
Well, let's start with Billy Joe. You've been working over in Spain. You've clearly shed a bit of tonnage. You're looking well.
Yep. Ready
to start training for this in earnest. What's your thoughts actually on this guy and on the fight that you have ahead?
Well, listen. If you take obviously the little muscles away and everything else, he's probably a featherweight. You know, I suppose he's had a bit of help to put them muscles on. Now I know these Americans trainers, and these are very sophisticated over there. They like the old juice. So, you know, I think that he's going to be chasing shadows all night, and he's going to be playing eat the jab. And after 3 or 4 rounds when he's gassing out, then I'm going to step on him and just do what I've got to do. He's 37-year-old. If I can't beat him, I just want to give up and think about not fighting Golovkin in your Canelos. You know, he's 3 years off from 40, so, you know, and he's not the best of boxers. I have a 7-year-old son who's got better boxing like tools than what he's got, and that's on a serious note.
But when you saw him against Tommy, I know Frank says, of course, you're not Tommy.
I think the occasion got to Tommy. Tommy was looking at the bigger picture. I think Tommy was looking at the bigger picture, the more than winning on the night, and I think he froze a little bit when it got put in front of him. But I think Tommy was up by 4 rounds. I think even the judges had it up. And Tommy's, you know, he's experienced at British level, but when you take that next step, even to European level, it's different. And you've got to go through that to know it, and I'm sure Tommy will come back a better fighter. But I bet if there's a rematch, Tommy will beat him in a rematch.
Well, let's hear from more from you in a minute, Bill. That Avtandil, you've got arguably the hardest fight of your life coming up, haven't you? What's your thoughts on this one?
So there's going to be the fight which is necessary for my future career. So it's just one of the fights I'll have in my life.
I'll translate that. He's going to get beat and get paid. That's the translation there, because, like I said, I'm not taking nothing away from him by being rude to him, but he's not a middleweight, to be honest with you. Yes, I'm very big. I come down from light, heavy, cruiser to middle. He's coming up from without the muscles, about 7 stone to 11.5.
I need to on 8th of July and just take care. So we'll see you on the 8th.
He says that he's going to box his head off, though. What does he do? What has he got to say about that?
What's he going to do, asked him, when he's 7 rounds down, blown out of his arse and can't hold his hands up to his face?
Why don't you let him say what he's going to say?
Why don't you sit down?
Let him say what he's going to say.
You're only here for money. You're only here for money.
He's not here. He's here to come and whoop your ass. That's why he's here.
I've seen you in his corner once.
You want to talk about somebody not being...
I've seen you in his corner once. Yeah, that's what I've seen you in his corner.
You're not looking enough.
Let me talk.
You're not looking enough. No, let him talk. Let him talk.
He can't even talk a word of English.
He has an interpreter. Let him talk. Don't be rude.
Don't you be rude.
I mean, I know you are rude, but don't be rude.
Oh, I'm sorry, mister. Sorry.
Thank you.
All right. I'm not really sorry.
So he's happy to congratulate you. Really,
I can explain he's not here for the money, though. What he is here for is your belt.
Yeah, listen, he's 37-year-old. He's 37 years of age.
About the money
up against a 27-year-old.
How's that going to make you feel when he whoops your ass then?
Well, I'll tell you what, would you want to put what you're earning on what I'm earning on it?
Sure, I don't have a problem with that. Okay. I have 5 other middleweights that keep me earning. Yeah. I'm not worried about that. You talk about somebody not being ready for something, his sparring partners are better than you are.
Yeah, but
his sparring partners.
So why ain't his sparring partners over fighting me?
You don't want to fight him. You didn't want to fight Danny, you don't want to fight...
Danny. You got him at Danny.
Yeah, Danny. Yes.
I would pick
and this man, this was the man that got Danny ready for Golovkin. He's going to whoop your ass.
Well, I'll tell you what, the same. He's going to get me ready for Golovkin, gang. I'm going to punch.
No, he's going to get you done. That's what he's going to get you.
Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing.
You're going to be done.
I know he's going to get done, is it?
You're going to be done.
I'll tell you what I'm going to make you do. I'm going to make you
You're not making me do anything.
I'm going to punish him.
You're not going to punish him.
And I'm going to make you run.
You're not going to punish him because he's going to be ready for you. You talk about eating jabs. He's going to eat your jabs.
You have to
a hope for dinner.
You got to wave that white flag over to the ref and say...
No, we don't do that in Brooklyn.
If I wobble him, I'm going to step up.
We don't do that in Brooklyn.
You get your man up bad. You don't look like your fighters then. You don't look like your fighters.
Give me one picture, man. Give me.
Everybody's short-hand working okay.
Did you repeat that again?
Tell us some more. Tell us
strong fighter, man.
You just say he's a strong fighter.
Yeah.
Are you going to knock him out?
Oh, maybe.
Listen, Curtis, you are a good penis, yes? You got good penis.
Yeah.
I know. See? Told you. That's good penis.
Now listen, because he doesn't understand what you're saying, no disrespect him, all right?
You understand?
Because you're a real asshole. How about that one?
We'll see who's the asshole tonight, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to see on the 8th.
We'll see. We'll see.
I guarantee you that. We're going to see on the 8th.
Make sure you got that tail in your
We're
bag.
going to see. No, we don't wave. We don't wave flags.
Waving that tail.
We don't wave
Well,
flags.
you're going to get him hurt. You get him hurt bad.
No, you're going to be
You
hurt.
will wave that flag. I'll
Listen,
make sure that you wave that flag.
make sure you get it together. All right, get that little fat, tubby body of yours ready. When he pounds you out,
Don't
get
worry.
ready
It's
for
ready.
it.
It's ready now. It's ready
No,
now.
it's far from
ready
ready
now.
now.
It's ready now.
It's-
And after I do
Where's
that,
the pink shirt?
and after I
Where's
do
the
that,
pink shirt?
if you want to bring Danny Jacobs over here to England, I'll do the same to him. Because that's your golden egg, Danny
Would you
Jacobs.
cut it already?
I
You're
would
losing
beat
your
Golovkin.
title on July 8th.
I would beat
You're
Golovkin
losing your
and
title
Golovkin
on
beat Danny
July
Jacobs.
8th.
All right.
Saunders-Khurtsidze, nickname. Suicide, nickname. Brooklyn Best,
It is
nickname.
suicide. It's
The
going to be
black
suicide. Get in the
man
ring with me.
is going to
It's
tear
gonna be
your ass
suicide.
up.
It's going to be suicide.
Can I just draw a halt for a moment? I think you probably get the gist of what's going on. Can I ask for 1 or 2 questions from the floor? If you want to just sort of narrow it down a little bit, perhaps you'd like to hear about what Billy's actually been doing in Spain, because I would, because you've been working out with Big Tyson, haven't you?
Been out there, so all I've been doing is eating, partying, not doing no training, get ready for this man to come over and take me to
I believe you.
Thank you very much. That's good. That's what I want you to do.
Let me party with
That's
you
what
in
I want you to
Spain.
believe. You're too old to
I
party.
speak a little Spanish.
You're too old to party.
I speak a
You're
little
too
Spanish.
old.
Don't worry, I'll talk to everyone that's necessary. I'll interpret for you.
Go on then, go on then. Away you go. Now listen, I've been out in Spain, training very hard, getting ready for this fight. I know that he's not going to come in, obviously, and give up. I know listen, deep down, I know that he's an hard fight to anybody. So, you know, you say a lot of talk just to get into people's heads, but I know he's a very strong fighter, a good puncher. But he hasn't even got a jab. I'm supposed to be, I'm WBO middleweight champion of the world. If I can't beat somebody who hasn't got a jab, then I don't belong in boxing. Simple as that.
He's been avoided though, hasn't he?
He has been strongly avoided. He has. But to be honest with you, I should have boxed him. I wish I had boxed him on the Tommy Langford deal when Tommy Langford was, because it'd have been over by now and I've been looking on the next step. But, you know, things happen for a reason. He's a good puncher. He's got a good record. And we're not just bringing someone over here that, I know he can't speak a word of English anyway and I can't even say his name, but he can genuinely fight. I'll give him to his due. Yeah, he can fight, but he's no Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson retired 18 years ago. So he is what he is. He's a strong little ball, come forward, full of muscles, and that's about it.
Billy, in your last fight, you didn't particularly impress me. It seemed because you weren't particularly motivated.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're not overly motivated here, so why would we expect a better performance?
Well, listen, in ways that last time I boxed, it was completely down to my own lack of work, my own way of letting myself go a year without the ring, without moving, doing anything. But it's been a lot different. I think this time that I know that I've got to be on my game. And that's what I do. When I have to turn it on, I will turn it on. Whatever I need to do to win, I will do to win. And whether it look good, bad, ugly, I'm unbeaten. I'm world champion, no one can argue with that. So until someone beats me and takes it off me, then that's it.
We've heard semi-expecting you to be fighting Golovkin this summer, so has that been difficult for you to get over, and do you know what your plans are hereafter?
Well, no, not really. Listen, you've got to take one fight. I'm not overlooking him thinking that I've just got to jump in the ring, turn up, and that's it, because I know that's not the case. But my goal is Golovkin or Canelo by the end of the year. That's all I want. I want one of the big fights. And to test myself to my max, to test myself to my absolute max, I want one of the best. And to be fair, he's a good fighter, but he's not one of the best.
Have you been told that fight will happen if you win this one?
I don't need to get told of it will happen. It's just that they're fighting now, they're making a history fight. And the only title they haven't got is the WBO, so I'm sure that they'll want to make that fight, because if I was in their position, I would love to make that fight.
Who do you think wins that one as a matter of interest, Bill?
I think that's going to be a close fight. I thought Golovkin comfortable at first, but Canelo's got a few tricks. It all depends if Golovkin's got a bit old, doesn't it? You know, because his last fight, let's face it, he wasn't the best Golovkin that we've seen 2 or 3 years ago. He slowed down a bit. But also, my opinion is that had something to do with having. My opinion on this is he had 5 drug testers, and that's my opinion on stuff like that what happens in America. So I don't think he boxed to his best ability because it was a fair playing field.
Bill, are you going to be staying out in Marbella or going back here? Are you still working with Adam?
Yep, still working with Adam. I'll be staying back here in Surrey and getting ready for the next 8 weeks for him, Danny.
What's it been like training with Tyson Fury?
Yeah, very good. He seems to got his head back on the game again. He's motivated. You know, he was up every morning, was running 7s, training, everything. He was putting in just as much work as me, and I'm really happy to see him back on track. And 100% you're going to see him back this year, 1,000,000%. He's really looking. He's lost a load of weight already. I think he lost 22 pounds out altogether. And I think as soon as he gets his business sorted over here, what he needs to do, he's back out again.
Any other questions?
Right. Well, we'll do. Well, the head-to-head's going to be interesting. I guess we'll do that, and there will be, as well as that, opportunities for interviews for all the television people here, radio people, etc., and undoubtedly the one-on-ones that you require. Any other further observations, Frank, before we go?
No, I'm just looking forward to it, and we'll be announcing the undercard next week. We've got a cracking undercard, which will make this event a really great event on the 8th of July. And I'm more than anything, I'm so looking forward to Bill being back in the ring, showing the British public what he can do.
Ron, for Dubella Entertainments, for the other side of it, who are involved in this, any observations from your point of view? One or two interesting remarks being made about the way in which some American boxers are prepared?
To be honest with you, Billy Joe Saunders is a hell of a fighter. I saw him, you know, when he won his title versus Andy Lee and looked absolutely sensational. So, you know, he is one of the best middleweights in the world. With Advantio, I've seen him since when we brought him over from Georgia. I believe it was a little bit off 2.5 years ago. Once he settled in with Andre over here, became a little bit of a different fighter. Became a better one. I believe he became more comfortable just with himself in general, being in an atmosphere that that embraced him, and then he, you know, in turn embraced that atmosphere. And I believe that has had a huge impact on his career and put him into the position that he's in. And it's not about the money, what Billy was saying, because that's actually not what's here in this fight. What it's about is him coming to win the title. Because after that, the riches will come to Advantio, and he'll show everybody he's one of the best middleweights in the world come July 8th. Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Okay, thank you very much indeed. Interview time, pictures time, and we'll get out of the way
Hey
for
fans,
the
it's
moment.
Michelle Joy Phelps, and if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking right here.